the list includes things like toxic shock syndrome, botulism, which is a very sickening disease, but it's not communicable. There are several diseases on this list that would give the Department of Health the absolute right to come in without any proof that you're sick, without any proof you've been exposed, with law enforcement, and take you from your home, take your children from your home. That's what this regulation says.
All right, welcome back to the homestead. I'm out feeding the sheep. It's about 22 degrees, Tuesday morning, November 28th. Wow, we're almost out of the 2023 season, and 2024 looks to be a little sketchy. So I hope you're paying attention to some of the news stories that they're circulating around, and some of them they might not be letting you hear at all, and that's by design. So I want to share this one with you right here, because this news story could literally change America as we know it. Okay, we're just going to get right into it. If you guys aren't following anything that happened in New York City when they tried all the lockdowns and stuff like that, there was a group of lawyers and citizens who came out and actually sued the state of New York to tell them, you don't have any right to quarantine people. You don't have any right keeping them from their family members. You don't have any of those rights, okay? They brought the case to the courts last year, and they won. They won. Here's a quick clip about it.
Which, if you recall, we actually won the lawsuit last year at the trial court level when the court ruled in our favor and said that this regulation that Governor Hochul and her Department of Health made it was an unconstitutional regulation on multiple levels.
Can you imagine, the citizens of the state of New York banded together, an attorney, a couple of attorneys, they're all banding together, and they're bringing to the courts, reasons why this is a little unconstitutional, a little overreaching. They're not separating the three parts of government, right? One part of government is trying to hijack the other one's authority. And so there's a lot of problems with this. And can you imagine that the governor of New York, okay, and the minions there, they actually appealed it. They fought it. They said, that is just not right, and we want to be able to lock you up or even take you away from your family and put you anywhere we see fit. That's what they believe. They're actually fighting the ruling from last year, saying that that was unconstitutional and can't be done. They're actually fighting it for the authority to take you away from your home and put you in a facility. Here's the second video.
George Borrello, the 57th Senate District. My last name is spelled B as in boy, O-R-R-E-L-L-O. This is Bobby Ann Cox, my attorney in the isolation and quarantine lawsuit. I'll start off by saying that first and foremost, I think people need to understand that we clearly won in the state Supreme Court ruling. A 14-page decision that just absolutely decimated what the governor did, what the Department of Health did. But unfortunately, the governor has all of our taxpayer money to work with, and she decided to appeal, even though there was literally not even a shred left of them to stand on. So they altered the argument. They came up and cited new areas that they didn't cite in the first case. You heard that in today's argument. They started. It was a moving target, as Bobby Ann mentioned. But they started with, "I don't have standing." As a New York State legislator, somehow I don't have standing in a lawsuit that says that the governor has violated the separation of powers. That was perhaps the most egregious and ridiculous part of this whole thing, that a New York State legislator does not have standing. They actually even cited cases like Silver v. Pataki, where it clearly outlines that. So, it shows the weakness of their case. They are standing on a foundation of jello in the violation of the separation of powers, and that they continue to move forward because they have the ability to do so using our money. To me, that's the worst part about this. We have to spend our money. She has to sacrifice so much in her life to defend the basic constitutional rights, because New York State, and our governor in particular, has the arrogance of power. And that's really what this is all about today, the arrogance of power. So, anything you'd like to say?
I just want to say that I think that the court was clearly engaged in this appeal. The judges knew the case well. They were asking pointed questions of both myself and the Attorney General's office. I think they understand the gravity of this case. It really is a huge problem. if one branch of government, here it's the executive branch, can take a power that belongs to another branch of government, which is the legislature in this case. We can't have one branch taking the power of another, because that is the breakdown of the cornerstone of our Constitution. Our Constitution says 3 branches of government, and they each have their own powers. When one branch takes a power from another, that's tyranny. That is the pure definition of tyranny. And that is what our Constitution was made to prevent. So I think it's very clear, and the lower court last summer ruled in our favor and struck down this regulation, said it was a clear violation of separation of powers. And I am hoping that this appellate court will uphold that decision so that this regulation is not reinstated. If they overturn the lower court's decision, then unfortunately that regulation will become valid again. So I hope that everybody keeps on top of this case. It's going to be a couple months before a decision comes out. And if we win on the appeal, who knows? Maybe the Attorney General will appeal it again to the Court of Appeals. We'll have to see how that goes. But I thank you all for coming, and we're happy to take some questions.
Oh, this isn't, China. This isn't Australia. This is right here in America, okay, where you have government officials actively and aggressively trying to pass laws where they can literally snatch you out of your home for any reason they see fit, drag you to an undisclosed location, and keep you there as long as they see fit.
Astonishing that the Department of Health, which is the executive branch, would even try to make a regulation like this. This regulation has no place in the United States of America, let alone in the great state of New York. So please stay informed. Absolutely. You can also, I'm on Substack. You can follow me on Substack. I post updates there, and I do an article once a week about things going on in New York State and the country in general about our constitutional rights. So you can find me at attorneycox.substack.com. But maybe Senator Borrello has a response to that question.
Yeah, I mentioned this before, but I think people have to understand too. There's been a lot of, the Attorney General just kind of try to throw some shade here. Probably the biggest thing is they tried to make this all about COVID. But if you look at the regulation, you look at the long list of diseases, most of which aren't even communicable diseases. These are reasons why, if they suspect that you may have been exposed to this long and, by the way, easily changed list of diseases, that is truly troubling. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, something that's like COVID, maybe you might justify something, but we already have a law for that. It's already in place. But what about things like, and I'm not kidding here, the list includes things like toxic shock syndrome, botulism, which is a very sickening disease, but it's not communicable. There are several diseases on this list that would give the Department of Health the absolute right to come in without any proof that you're sick, without any proof you've been exposed, with law enforcement, and take you from your home, take your children from your home. That's what this regulation says. This regulation would make the Chinese Communist Party blush. That's how bad it is. And yet, here it is. And I hope that the judges today, based on the questions that they asked, will uphold the lower court decision. Because clearly, they had some questions too, as well. Where does it say that, counselor? He probably said that a couple times. And his answer was, well, you got to just trust us that it's there. That's not the business that we're in. So,
actively fighting for the internment camps. They're using your tax dollars to squash the lawyers and the citizens who don't have as much money. Let's just face it. That's the whole thing by design, is they have an endless amount of funds because they steal it from us and we don't. And so it's hard for us to battle the state. That was the whole purpose, right? That Constitution. Man, oh man. Now, I just want to bring to your attention that while these news stories are coming out, okay, while they're talking about this open air, so to speak, in China, right now there's a mysterious illness that's breaking loose, and it's causing a lot of problem over there. Okay? So can you see where we're going with this? The new one comes around, 2024 elections coming, all of a sudden now we have all this stuff going on, and now we're going to shut her down, and we're going to drag you off to an internment camp this time. Man, I wish I was making this stuff up. But this is all facts. These are all facts that can be easily verified. if you just take the time to look it up. But I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I live kind of, you know, unless I go seeking this information, it's not in front of me because I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news, you know, but I do find stories that are relevant to my life and how Stacy and I live here on the homestead, and also to our country. You know, the freedoms are the illusion of freedom that we thought we've always had. But the walls are closing in fast, y'all. I hope you guys can see this. Learn the skills to take care of yourself, okay? Learn the skills to take care of yourself. Our channel here has over 1,500 videos teaching you guys how to live off rainwater, plant food, poop in buckets, take care of yourself. We only use the system when we want to, and that's the, you know, by our choice. That means that we decide when we want to participate. And that's what we try to teach you guys. Because see, right now we've given them way too much control. Think about everything that you do in your life. Think about who owns it and how you have to get, you know, use it or to use it. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like for food, can you grow it in your backyard? Do you have raised beds? Are you actively pursuing growing food? Or do you go to the store for every single meal on your plate, right? Is the only water that you have come out of the faucet from the city? Uh-oh, the sheep found me. You know what I mean? Things like that you got to really start thinking about. Get out of here. Yep. Meeting's over. Meeting's over. Meeting's over. Let's go. Meeting's over. Meeting's over. We're just telling the folks about New York City. Don't be a sheeple. Yeah. I just want you guys to realize that the court told the senators, or, you know, the Congress people, the people that make the laws there in the state of New York, and the citizens, that they didn't have standing, which is kind of the junk that they used when they stole the election, right? That they didn't have standing. The citizens of a state always have standing because they're affected by any of the laws and regulations that come out by it. So what they do is they scam the courts with their own crazy appointees. You guys are seeing it more and more and more now. And then those judges are just bogus, and they're just going along with the agenda, you guys. So that's the other trick bag that we're going to have to fight through too, right? Is all the legal system is going to get jerked around, and then we're not going to even have a legal stance. And if you guys are watching and actually paying attention good, you can see that they're slowly but surely whittling away at our legal system. You know, we're a nation of laws. And when they do that, then it's really going to be bad. All right? We'll see you guys on the next video. Leave a comment down below if you knew any of this information. You know, leave a comment down below. You know? Just leave a comment down below. Where do you think we're going with all this stuff? You think it's nothing to see here, folks? Or do you think it's something we should really be paying attention to? Because every day they're putting one more link in the chain that's going to go around your hands and your feet. All right? See you on the next video.